If anything, it's going to really drive my point home today of what we're talking about. I'm so excited that I made this beautiful presentation for y'all. Let's get into it, shall we? Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's finally happening. Let's go. Maybe. Okay, so, start out. I am Elizabeth of the Peach Fuzz. And here's a little bit of our lore. I started the Peach Fuzz. Oh, and before I start, we're gonna do Q&A at the end. So just to make sure that I don't get ADHD brained, I'm gonna move the chat so I can't see you because I will read it and I will get distracted and we'll be here forever. So I'm gonna be talking, going through my presentation. Feel free to type your messages or questions in there and we'll go through at the end and answer them all for you. So I'm Elizabeth. I do the Peach Fuzz. I started the Peach Fuzz in 2017. I had just graduated college. I actually went to college for accounting, and I was studying for my CPA exams, the Certified Public Accountant exams, and Trump had just been elected president, and I was like, oh shit. Things like Planned Parenthood are going to need our support. I've always been a loudmouth activist, if you will, always been very crafty, and I didn't have my own money to put towards the cause because I just graduated from college, but I was like, if I make some art, maybe then, yeah, there we go. If I make some art, and put it on print-on-demand sites like TeePublic, Redbubble, Threadless, all of those, I can take the money that I earn from that because it's entirely passive. I don't have to do anything other than make the art, post about it, or post it and then like share as much about it as I want to. I could just take that money and donate it. A quote or like a quote that's always stuck with me, I actually have it on my wall in here, is by Tony Cade Bambara, and it is, the role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible. That was kind of where I felt like my skill set could be used. Like I said, I've always been very politically active, very outspoken about social justice issues, and I'm not really a good organizer, as you can tell, but I am good at art and good at making creative, clever, beautiful, pretty ways to raise your voice and like talk about the causes that we care about. So that was where I put my energy, and that's how I thought that I could show up for the revolution, if you will. Like I mentioned, I was in accounting. I started my career as a tax accountant, and I never really questioned being a 9 to 5 girly. I thought, I'll go to school for something that pays the bills. I'll have a 9 to 5 that makes me good money, which is exactly what tax accounting was supposed to be. And art will just be a fun, silly little sprinkle on top, right? Little did I know the soul suck of working in a corporate office. It is unique. It is a unique soul suck when you're filing tax returns for people who make more in their 2-week pay stub than you make an entire year. But it's also a unique soul suck when your creativity is seen as a liability in your workplace. I was the only one that had my desk decorated. I don't know. Sorry, I have to let the order counter go. There's no work versus home, Elizabeth. That was something I always struggled with. I'm the same person all the time. I don't know how to code switch or do any of those things that are required in order to stay afloat with corporate politics and stuff. So it was just very traumatic to work in this environment that was never had accommodations for my ADHD. It was very every man for themselves, very figure it out, very we've told you to do this 6 times now. why aren't you figuring it out? Instead of being like actually helpful with that. Yeah, and I thought that I would be happy being just like, oh, I'm the office creative. No, it wasn't enough for me. So in 2020, I was fired from that job. Woo! They made it very clear to me that with or without a pandemic, as you'll notice, the date there is right when everything was shutting down. But they made it clear to me that with or without a pandemic, I would be fired from this job, which they didn't have to say it like that, but I do think it makes sense. My heart wasn't in it. I didn't like the people I was working with. And as you can see in this video clip here, it's one of my most popular reels talking about the headband that I wore in the meeting when I got fired. This is not a joke. That's real. I just wanted to boost the morale in the Zoom meeting. Little did I know that I would be getting let go. That year, I dedicated all of my time to the Peach Fuzz because I didn't have anything else to do. Nobody else was hiring. And we grew revenue by 1,065% that year. Crazy. Granted, that jump is a lot easier when you're going from, I think I went from like $4,000 in revenue in 2019 to like 21,000. I don't know the exact math on that, but like somewhere in there, that was the 1,000%. We have not seen a year with that high of growth since, but that's just because it's harder to go from, well, I mean, it's not harder, but going from like 100,000 to 200,000 is $100,000 difference versus a $30,000 difference. You know, this is math. This is my math talking. I did get another job. I did continue to apply to other jobs in accounting because I wanted that fail-safe. But that only lasted like 4 months before I left it and took the Peach Fuzz full time. I get asked a lot, how do you know when it's time to make that switch? And the answer is you don't. But what did it for me, excuse me, I was waiting for some magical person to come from the sky and be like, okay, now it's time. You can take the Peach Fuzz full time and quit your 9 to 5. I don't know if I was waiting for, I think I had said at the time I was waiting to hit $100,000 in sales. And then that's when I did it, but that was entirely arbitrary. So what made that decision easier for me, I was 26, so I had 1 year left on my parents' insurance. I was making more money at the Peach Fuzz. I was making more of the same like revenue as I was on my W-2. So I was like, okay, that's an easy switch over. And something that I'm experiencing now because I'm nervous, my chest was tightening. I have like anxiety-induced asthma and I could not breathe. Like, I was not participating in conversations with friends. I was not participating at work because I didn't have the wind capacity in me. Because I was working from 9 to 5 for someone else and then from 5 to 10 every night for the Peach Fuzz. And that shit is not sustainable. I even did it on the weekends. It was too much. So fast forward, in 2024, we had our first 6-figure months. We have had 3 of them so far. We were also sold in Target and in Urban Outfitters this year. That was huge. We have lifetime total sales of over $1.5 million. And like that's across the past 7 years of having the business, but that's still a crazy number. And total donations of over $110,000 going to different mutual aid, bond funds, GoFundMes, all of those things. And now I work to save my fellow artists some of the pain that I've taken on, because I'm a very like guess and check, I learn by doing type of person, and I've had to figure out a lot of things the hard way. And I just think like if I can save other people, like I've had a lot of legs up, you know, financially, I've been very privileged and stuff, and I know that not everybody has that privilege. So to me, this is how I can help like level that playing field, because I want everybody to quit their job. I want everybody to give their boss the finger and work for themselves. Because it's just like, ever since I made that decision to trust my own gut and go for the Peach Fuzz full time, it was just a life-changing decision to be like, oh, I can trust myself to make decisions, even risky ones, and they are good. Like, it's not a bad risky decision, it's a good risky decision, if that makes sense. And now I operate as the pioneering guinea pig for creatives who are neurodivergent, queer, non-conventional, and unapologetically themselves, tying back to how I was just miserable in my tax accounting role because I couldn't be myself. I had to hide all of these parts of myself, and even when I did fail to hide those parts of myself, it would blow up in my face. Just a very toxic work environment, and I had to learn through this process that, like, to trust myself, trust my decisions, all that kind of stuff. And now hopefully I can show other people the way. So, what's the secret to business? I'm sure you all want to know. Spoiler alert, it's flinging as much shit at the wall as possible and seeing what sticks. That is truly the best advice that I regularly give people, that I still follow myself, and it is the only way to go. Success is a lot about luck, but you can cultivate that luck. It's about leaving every stone unturned and getting your stuff in front of as many eyeballs as possible. I always had the feeling that, like, my stuff is good, I know it's good, it's just a matter of getting it in front of the right eyes. So I thought, I'm going to turn over every stone I possibly can to make sure I get my stuff in front of as many eyeballs as possible, and then hopefully one of those sets of eyeballs will be the right one to take me to the top, or to blow me up, to make me viral, whatever. And I want to stress that anybody can do this. I am not the exception to the rule. Like I said, I had some nice, healthy privilege helping me out in the beginning, but I'm messy, I'm unorganized, I am neurodivergent, I have a lot of faults, and I've never let those things keep me back. I've just adapted with them, and that's kind of why I want to supply as much information to you guys as I can. And there's a reason why I have, like, free business resources on my website, as well as coaching sessions that I now offer. You gotta get comfortable with that shameless self-promotion. Okay, so let's dive into how I actually did it, though, because this is a little broad, and I know we want specifics. There are some things that I want you to reject. One of them being trying to appeal to everybody. This was something I actually had to write down on my wall for a little bit that said, you don't want to appeal to everybody, so stop trying, because you will drive yourself mad trying to appease every little person that has a request. The customer is not always right. And what makes all of this worth it is staying true to what you want to put out there. So sorry. I personally use my art to learn about myself, and thus who I want to target. They kind of inform one another. And I thought, I don't need to write down my target audience. I'm my target audience. I know who she is. Wrong. You want to write that shit down because it gives you a great tangible home base, especially if you have decision paralysis or decision fatigue, which you will in running a business, whether you are neurodivergent or not. Having this home base, or North Star as I like to call it, is great to refer back to and to cross-reference with your product offerings. So for example, I went through and wrote my ideal customer and compared it with the products and designs that I already had in the shop, and found spaces where there was disconnect, or there was big holes. You know, I had plenty of stuff for queer people, I had plenty of stuff for stoners, I had plenty of stuff for leftists, but I didn't really have that much stuff for crafty people. So I committed some time to it. I created my crafty little bitch sticker that you see here, and it is now one of my best selling designs because I knew my target audience already. I knew the kind of people that I wanted to appeal to my booth, to appeal to my website and my art, and I targeted them with what I was doing. And I love that. Also, identifying your target audience will help you feel less like you're doing capitalism and more like you're making fun stuff for the girls. Like, if I can say, oh, June would love this, or Mallory would love this, or let's make something for Alora, it's so much easier to do the follow through and make all these things if you have somebody in mind that you're making them for, and it helps solidify that like bestie level support that you want to generate with all of your customers. The next thing is community over competition. I know that capitalism has ingrained in us that success is a pie, and if somebody else has more success, that means that there's going to be less for you, and therefore you need to do anything possible to surpass them. That is not true. You will drive yourself crazy thinking that way. So this is like good for business and good for your mental health, is to know that like more success for one person doesn't mean less for you. And community building is a great way to grow. When I first started out, I had a group chat with people that were other artists that I liked or that I looked up to, and we talked about everything from, hey, I'm almost done with this design, but I can't put my finger on what it needs. Do you guys have any recommendations? To how the hell do you ship a hat and a print together? To saying things like, hey guys, I just made a post about some really big news and it's not getting the traffic I want it to. Would you mind going over there and commenting on it? And we would, because all of us understood the importance of engagement. We don't have coworkers in this profession, so it's really important to create some DIY coworkers, and because you will otherwise feel very isolated, very insane. You need other people that you can turn to and ask questions and exchange customer horror stories and just relate with. Also, having peers that you are solid with helps in situations where you might be taken advantage of. So there's been multiple instances where I have been a part of a craft show, and like the craft show was either really shitty or they tried to take something away from us after promising it. And a bunch of us artists banded together to send out either multiple emails and just like flood the coordinators, or draft up one email and have all of us sign it saying like, you can't do this shit to us, make it right. And you know, it's kind of like the same idea as unionizing, and that's the only way that, I mean, it's not the only way, but it's a great way to make sure that other people have your back, you have their back, and you're not going to be taken advantage of. Also, referring people for projects. Like, there's just so many benefits. And lastly, other people to collaborate with. I love collaborations because you get twice as much exposure with half the work. Earlier this year, I did this collaboration with Shitty Craft Club, and you can see that big spike there is the day where we did the announcement, or she announced that we were doing a giveaway for this product, and you had to follow both of us. And I knew that our audiences would align, but I knew that she had different people physically in her audience than me. And I was right. We got a huge boost in followers that day. And yeah, I love getting to now collaborate with some smaller artists to kind of help them get that little boost, and you get to help, you get price breaks when you order larger quantities, so it's just helpful for everybody all around. I do want to stress, though, your community should serve as inspiration only, never comparison. You will drive yourself crazy. Don't do it. Don't do it. I've even had to mute some friends that are in like my same field because I see them thriving and thriving, and I want them to. You know, I love that for them. But it just like triggers that little green monster of energy, of jealousy in me, and I don't want to indulge her. So I just mute them on Instagram for a little bit so I can still healthily support them from afar. But yeah, I just want to give you all permission to do that. Next, I want you to break fake rules. No one knows what they're doing. Okay? I know I've said that a bajillion times, but it's true. The rules that you are following for yourself, I want you to think about as we go over them. And think about, are you following them because they actually align with you? Or are you following them because you feel obligated to? Or you feel like you're supposed to? Or a word that my therapist hates when I say is should. I feel like I should be doing this or I should be doing that. Why? So the first thing is to start small and thrifty. I know a lot of people dive right in with getting their business license and getting tons of product and fancy packaging and all of that. Do whatever you want. But I was starting small and cheap. I was starting by taking envelopes from my workplace. No relation to the reason why I was fired. It was not listed as a reason. And I made my own stamps and decorated them. This center thing I wore as a little like cigarette box thing like you see at baseball games and stuff to go vend the women's march, just like walking through it. You can package things in reused materials. It's fine. And lastly, like, we are very creative people, right? I had a bunch of leftover units of this abolished ice shirt, and I was like, how do I spice these up, or how do I get people excited about them again? I bleach dyed them. It's a whole new shirt, and I could list them as a whole other new item. Same for like when you're starting out. I wanted to get pink aprons, but pink aprons required a huge like order quantities, and I didn't want that many, and they were really expensive, so I got white aprons and I just dyed them pink, and that way I could get the exact color of pink I wanted also. So that creativity that you have for your art, apply that to business things. You know, get creative with how you're getting rid of things, how you're selling them, what you're using to appeal to them. My hair claws, when people are like, oh, I love it, but I don't have hair, I'm like, okay, chip clip. You know? Be silly with it. Have fun. Be creative. Be transparent. You can get away with a lot if you just communicate also, but I don't want you to be afraid of being seen trying. I was terrified of being seen trying for a very long time. If you're anything like me, which if you're an artist, you probably are, I did not want anybody to see things that I was making until I was completely done with them and felt that they were perfect. So that stuff like just never went out. And I found, as you can see by the view count on these, that sharing the process is like peeling back the curtain and sharing behind the scenes with people is how you get them to be diehard fans of your work. It's important to show the reality of our work to people. There's no like Glassdoor website where you can look up like what's the average salary of an artist. And if there was, maybe I wouldn't have gone to school for accounting and I would have dove right into my art career. But I've had people tell me, like in this first video where it shows what I made in each month of 2022, which is like astronomical numbers, crazy town. I've had people say, oh, I show that to my son who loves art now, you know, he's like 12 or whatever, and to make sure that he knows that like he can do whatever he wants to do, that this starving artist trope that the world tries to shove on him is not true. I mean, it can be. There are tons of people who are struggling, but hopefully less after this session. And I think that it's important to show the upsides of it for people who want to get into it and the downsides of it for the customers. A lot, because people think like, oh, you're just another Amazon robot who can get things out to me super quick. I want to show my flops. I want to show the times that I fucked up to remind people that there's a real life human being behind all of this. To hopefully invoke their empathy a little bit. And also, never underestimate the power of someone seeing your stuff and saying, oh my god, she's just like me for real. They will love you for that. This center video that you see here was one where I was showing that my 2023 goals were just becoming my 2024 goals because I didn't accomplish any of them. And the day after I posted it, I was very nervous because I was like, oh, what if these stores see it and they're just like, that's so cringe. You thought you were going to be stalked by Urban or like Casetify or whatever. The day after I posted that video, I got an email from Urban Outfitters, and we are in Urban Outfitters as we speak. So I don't know if that was me being brave and the universe rewarding it. I don't think that they saw that video. No, they told me they didn't see that video. So it was just like coincidence, but still. And then also sharing your work in progress, I know can feel very vulnerable and icky. And it is sometimes, but it gets people more on board with seeing the whole process. It shows them like, oh, this is the difference between buying from me, somebody who was, spent so much time looking at all of these different colors and patterns and shapes to make these hair claws versus Temu, who has traced my design and sold it for $2 online. I think like humanizing the process is really helpful also. Also sharing your flops is key because it turns any like loss into an opportunity for content. Fuck growth. People are like, oh, every mistake is just an opportunity for growth. Sure, but it's also an opportunity for some sick content. And that makes it hurt a lot less when, all of your stuff gets pulled from the Target shelves. Well, at least I have like 3 banger videos about it now that brought in a bunch of new customers to my site and stuff. This ties in very closely, but be authentic. Your audience cannot find you if you are not showing up 100% as you. You need to be militant in your commitment to showing up as yourself and trusting her gut, you, above all else. For example, this trout hair claw, I got so much hate on TikTok sharing it because people were like, oh, I liked the first version of it better, which looked more like an actual fish, but I wanted the neon of a rainbow trout. And I said, fuck all y'all. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to stick with my vision for this. And we have sold more units than I know how to count. I cannot keep this hair claw in stock. And I just know that, like, I'm so glad that I trusted my own vision for it and not, like, there's a reason why those people are commenting on TikTok and not making it themselves. Just saying. Anytime that I've shared insecurities or things that I'm uncertain about, I've had the warmest response from people. So not only is it good for business, but it's good for just like healing. It's good for your mental health. It's great to continually be supported and showing up as yourself. And it helps grow the community. An anecdote I wanted to share was, if any of you listened to Sabrina Carpenter, she was on Hot Ones recently, and she talked about how the song Nonsense, which is like one of her top performing songs and my personal favorite, almost didn't make it onto the album because she showed like her mom, her friends, her siblings the album, and Nonsense, even though it was her personal favorite on the album, was the song that everybody was like, I don't like it. And because she stuck to her guns, trusted her gut, and was like, I'm the artist here, I'm going to make the decision that aligns with me. She's got a banger hit and a song that like closes out every single one of her shows, and people look forward to it now. So that was just like a very good morsel of a story that I was like, oh, I'm the artist. I make the decisions. I choose what aligns with what I'm trying to put out. My opinion is the most important here. And all of this will make your whole like work life much more enjoyable if you're not hiding parts of yourself anymore. Um, this video where I say you're running a business, don't you think you should be more professional? Got 3.2 million views. And like I think we got like 10,000 followers from it because people are like, I love this energy of just being unapologetically yourself and saying fuck you to professional norms and stuff. Um, and that's something I have a lot of fun advocating for. Okay, this is one that I get a lot. You are allowed to be inconsistent. People, myself included, have held themselves back by saying, like, oh, well, I need to stick to one consistent art style or one color palette of 5 colors. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. It's very hard to not make your point of view shine through in all of the art that you create. Like these 2 designs here are some that I created more recently. There are some newer designs in the shop. And if you ask me, I would say these look like totally, they were kind of departures from my normal style and departures from one another. But I get the comment from people all the time saying, like, oh, your art is so consistent. How did you do that? And I'm like, I think that people only think it looks consistent because they know it all came from me. Like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing. Um, so like I said, yeah, it's hard to not have your POV shine through. That being said, if you are really stressed about it, having a set range of colors or a certain color that you incorporate in every design or certain design elements or flourishes like a little star or a butterfly or whatever can help tie it all together. And asking like, okay, it might not look like it came from the same exact artist, but does it look like it came from the same point of view? Does it have that you stamp of approval in the POV? The same type of person? That's good enough. This being said, it is very helpful to have like a set of like 5 colors for marketing purposes that you stick to for emails, for the website, for all of those things. It'll just make your life easier and it'll make things go together a little bit nicer. Okay, be a lazy artist. And I'm going to use the word lazy, even though I don't believe laziness exists, but I know that you're going to call yourself a lazy artist, so we're using that word. Reuse designs. Reuse them. I always say I like to have one good idea and put that shit on everything. As you can see here with my hot doggy dog, it was a great sticker, so I said, okay, let's turn it into an enamel pin, a keychain, a hair claw, a shoe charm, and on and on and on. All of my best designs, if it performs well as a sticker, I'm putting that on everything. Hold on, I gotta yawn again, sorry. And the same goes for successful online content. So if you had a video do really well, post it again, dude. No, absolutely nobody is going to be like, I think you actually already posted that 3 weeks ago and I saw it and everybody thinks that you're lame now. No one does that. People didn't see it the first time, okay? That's the way the algorithm works. It sucks, but use it in your favor. Also, stop expecting yourself to be everything, to be a killer, like to have all the creativity with design as well as product packaging, as well as web design, email marketing, content marketing, all of that stuff. Take shortcuts where you need to. I don't know if it'll play my video again here. No, but if you saw this design from on the backing card here was a design that I used here. Maybe if I will play again. Yeah, it's just the design from a that I already made, and I changed the color and I put it on backing cards, and I'm still using it. Also, I use Canva for my backing cards. Sue me. I didn't draw that shit. Okay? I mean, I drew this one, but some of the stuff that I have on backing cards, and no one cares. It's good enough. Get the job done. Keep moving. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything here. Yeah, no one's gonna call you a fake artist. Also, that doesn't happen. That's not a real thing. Only you will, and you gotta cut that shit out. Okay, be less precious with your art. offering a range of price points for your art is how you will succeed. There are plenty of painters and stuff like that who think that they can only sell their original paintings and they only want to and are wondering why they're not making any sales. A number of reasons. But in between finding those big whale customers that will buy a $500 original painting from you, there's 100,000 people who just want to support you in whatever way they financially can. We used to say that likes don't pay the bills. They kind of do now, but offering things at a range of price points will allow you to stay afloat in between finding the bigger customers. I tell people a customer generally doesn't really give a shit about the process, the gouache, the whatever that you used on the print. They just want the art print. That's why I make mine as posters on Vistaprint, and they cost me like 50 cents a piece, and I sell them for $10, and they fucking move. They haul. Because people just want the art on their walls. They don't want something that's so precious that they're going to have to be nervous about it and all of that. Also, do not sleep on stickers. Do not sleep on sticker sales. Last year, we made $129,000 on stickers alone. That is not nothing. That is more than most people make in like a whole year. So, lean into that. Also, make sure that you have a tip the artist page on your website. I just the other day had somebody leave a message saying like, I love your work. There's nothing really that I need from your shop right now, but I still want to support you. Here's $20. Beautiful. And before you think, oh, people wouldn't do that for me. Well, do you have it set up? Then of course they wouldn't, because you don't have it set it up yet. Set it up and you'll get some money in. It's fine. Okay. Be your own biggest fan, even when it's cringe. This is the hill that I will die on. I've done many coaching sessions before, and sometimes people will come in. I start them by saying like, okay, tell me a little bit about your art, about where you've been with it, what you're hoping to achieve, whatever. And one of the times the person was like, oh, well, I kind of make this stuff and I don't really know how to talk about it. And I was like, oh, I see our problem here. Nobody's going to get excited about that. People are excited when they hear you say, oh my gosh, you like hot glue guns? I have a fucking hot glue gun necklace and sticker. Wait while I show it to you. You're gonna love it. You're gonna wait. And they get amped. So it is your job to be the hype man for your own business. And operating with the understanding that it's not if, but when. I think that was like a good secret sauce for me in getting started. Was I never doubted that I had the stuff. It was just a matter of when the stuff gets seen by everybody. And you should have the same confidence in your work. Even if you don't right now, fake it and it'll eventually come. That's not to say that I don't still have tons and tons of moments where I'm like, oh, will anybody like this? I don't know. But you have to be your own biggest fan. You have to market your business. You have to carry your business cards around and shamelessly self-promote and give them out to people. Another thing that helps with this is I used to make little sheets at the end of every year that had my accomplishments on it, how much money we donated to charity, our sales goals that we hit. If making sales goals isn't really something that speaks to you, it's never really spoken to me. I give myself like product goals or benchmarks. So like this year, I said, I really want to have risograph prints in the store. So I made risograph prints, and I can check that off of my to-do list now. It's a lot less daunting when you're like, okay, my goal is to make $100,000 this year. Where the fuck do I start? Instead, you're going the opposite direction, starting small and being like, okay, I definitely want to have 3 new product options by the end of this month. Or I definitely want to have this best-selling design on 1 new product by the end of the month. Those are just more digestible goals to set, and they'll be less overwhelming. Lastly on this, just like the brag card that you keep of your accomplishments, any nice DMs, messages, comments, whatever that you receive that like really touch you, save those in a folder. I do, and I go back and read them when I'm feeling real low, because we have a tendency to only remember and kind of fester on the bad things that we hear. So you need to have that counterbalance for yourself to remind yourself, like, hey, I am hot shit. I am her. And then continue to act like it. So now my days are exhausting being a full-time artist, but I make so much more money than I would have if I had stayed as a tax accountant. I'm so much happier. I feel like really empowered to be my truest self and to challenge myself. My current challenges are keeping up with this beast that I've created. We had the Fair Summer Market start yesterday and we got 60 orders. I feel like I'm drowning a lot of times, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And also the other challenge that I'm facing now is learning how to take care of myself. I was focused on grinding for the business, working 7 days a week for it for so long that now that it kind of runs itself in some regards. Like for that for the Fair Summer Market, I didn't send out a single marketing email. That was all just people pouncing on it on their own. So now that I don't have to like spend that time up front marketing, how do I take care of myself? All the things that I've neglected, like not going to the doctor for years and years, and not getting a hair. I got my first haircut in 3 years, like 2 weeks ago. So just like relearning how to take care of myself as a now 28-year-old adult has been the biggest thing. Okay, Q&A time. I yapped and yapped and yapped. So let's see what y'all had to say. Okay. Oh, a June shout out. I'm not all your targets for your target audience, but so glad I found you. June, you were my go-to reference. I always encourage physical artists to find at least one thing to get manufactured so they can be lazy and have easy profits. Yup. How do you go about finding art friends and joining art communities / group chats? You got to make them yourself. Even when it's cringe, it's not conceited, it's marketing your business. Yes. Thank you for sharing all that info. You're so inspirational. Thank you. Yeah, so finding art community, I was having trouble finding it, so I fucking made it, dude. I made that group chat on Instagram all those years ago. And, it was just a couple of people that I was mutuals with or that I really liked and I wanted to become friends with. Like, I approach everything in the business as just like a ploy for me to make friends. It makes it a lot more enjoyable, I find, and it takes the stuffiness out of like, oh, we're gonna do networking. It's like, no, we're gonna kiki, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna talk with our friends, we're gonna gossip, and they're gonna ride for me like I ride for them. What was your first viral product? My first viral design was my, let's see, I think I had it in the beginning of the presentation. It was the share, it says, no, may I please remind you, it does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty, as well as the Abolish ICE one. And then the first product that like I made and it sold out immediately was my blue lighter that said when they go low, we get high. When you release a new product for wholesale, do you have the items already ordered or do you wait to manufacture them till the orders come in so you have a better idea of the quantities you need? No. I manufacture them and then sell them afterwards because like just the manufacturing time takes too long. And is super inconsistent. So I've made a like chart for myself that's like, okay, if I want to have stuff launch on April 1st, I need to have designs done by January 1st. I need to have things ordered by January 30th. I need to have product photos done by March 15th, and kind of work my way backwards to those due dates for myself. How do you... oh, wait, did I miss anybody? Do you have tax filing resources available anywhere or any advice to keep tax things organized? Yes, I have a download on my website of a financial statement template that I actually use to keep track of my own finances. And then also I just started using TaxJar for sales tax. And I don't know why I didn't get on that shit sooner. It is, I was going to say something inappropriate. I just love them so much. Sad banana. Oh yeah, did I answer that question about finding art friends or just making them yourself? How do you stay optimistic, motivated when the online landscape seems shifting so drastically every few years? That I need to stop. I think of it as a spank bank for my optimism. I should not say that. But keeping the document of, nice messages from people is one way. Commiserating with your peers, knowing that everybody is going through this. What does your overall timeline look like when it comes to designing products? Did I just answer that? Or do you want me to go more in it? What was starting your fair shop like? How long till you were getting consistent sales? It was about 2 years, sorry. It was like 1.5 to 2 years. The PC/corporate version of a props folder. Oh, yes. Yeah, I got the idea from you, Alora. More into detail would be awesome. Sure. I wish I could tell you that I really stick to my schedule of having like 4 launches every year and they're consistent and all thought out. Generally, what has been happening is I have my ADD medicine for the first couple months of the year, and that's when I plan out my stuff, but I only have the purview or like the ability to look forward 6 months at a time. I need to get better at that. I absolutely wish that I could get my brain to function a whole year in advance, maybe. That's to say, it's never too soon to start working on things. So, like, if you want to start working on 420 stuff for next year right now, do it. Because then you won't be scrambling when it's time. But I normally do my 420 launch, which happens on April 1st. So it's not really a 420 launch, but whatever. And then I do a June Pride launch. And then everything after that is kind of up in the air because the rest of my year is like less structured. And I do music festivals and then it's like holiday season. And things kind of just, as they come in and as I work on them, they get posted. I would love to have more structure with that, but that's where we can all pressure Alora to become my business ops manager or whatever, to help me streamline that stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to make bigger purchases so I can have better profit margins. How do you handle that large upfront cost at first? Do I need a loan or credit card? You don't need a loan. You probably should have a business credit card. I personally got a PayPal one because you get 3% cash back on all transactions carried out through using PayPal, which is like, I'm buying things online. That's like all of my transactions. But like I said, you can start small. Start with people that allow you to do a 50 unit minimum. Start with white t-shirts with black print because it's cheaper, and then tie-dye them yourself. Like, those are things that I did to help keep those upfront costs low, because the business is always paid for itself. I never wanted to take out a loan. I have student loans. That's enough for me. And I just never wanted to get into that. So we've always been profitable. And I think getting creative with how you source things in the beginning is very helpful with that. Do you do a certain number of launches a year, or do you launch new products whenever? I kind of answered that. It's kind of all over the place. Do you think print-on-demand services, Society 6, Redbubble, etc., is worth it, especially starting out, or is wholesale the best / ideally only way to go? No. I started on print-on-demand. That is where I got my sea legs, and even now I don't touch them at all. Like, I maybe upload things once every couple of months, and I get about $300 to $500 a month sent to me from those. It's entirely passive income. That being said, I did onboard on those platforms when they were, shout out to TeePublic. They are paying me to talk to you all right now. So we do love them for that. And they take really good care of their artists. They'll send you free product to take your own photos in and stuff. Did you ever get in with Casetify? No, I cannot get them to answer any of my emails. And then I heard some shady things about them like stealing people's artwork. So I kind of just like got rid of that as a goal. Do you cross post with POD services? Absolutely. That was kind of something that I should have touched on more, and that like be less precious about your art, because I remember a point where I was like, well, I could put all of my designs up, but then maybe people won't come to my website for it. Fuck it, dude. Money is money. Get it where you can. You can always take it down later. There's no investment from you, which is nice. And it's a really great way to test what stuff you should invest in. So I had all of my stuff on Redbubble when I started out, and that's how I knew that my Abolished Ice and the Clueless sticker were bestsellers, were viral hits, if you will. And so I knew that buying stickers to carry myself and sell on Etsy and then on Shopify would be the way to go there. Hi, Tamiko. Any tips on how to limit time spent on IG, like not falling into a doom scroll trap while having to be on it to make post/content? Ooh, that is a good one. I know that I personally have started, like, that's why I started going live on Instagram, because I didn't want to have my phone available for me to use. I definitely say schedule out content. I use Later. It's free. I've tried out a bunch of different content scheduling apps, and that's the one that I liked the most. So I would sit down for like an hour. Yeah, Eat the Frog, come and co-work with us. Yep, the co-work crew goes hard. We love it. I would sit down and spend like an hour every other week and make, 10 to 14 days worth of content, and then I didn't have to worry about it, and going on social media was only for fun. Giving yourselves limits. You can also do app limits on your phone, which I did for a while. Like, it would tell me, like, okay, you only have like 5% left of your daily Instagram time. So, check it, like, get out. How do you approach collabs with people? I say, hey, I really love your work. I think it'd be super fun if we work together. Are you down? And then if I have an idea already, I'll say, here's what I'm thinking. If not, I'll ask if they have any ideas or anything that they've been like. Normally when I'm approaching smaller artists or people who don't have a lot of experience with manufacturing, I will ask them, is there anything that like you've been wanting to produce but you don't have the resources or like know how to, and maybe we can make that happen together. Because like I said, also when you're splitting the units, like you're able to get the units that you buy are going to be cheaper if you're buying 200 of them versus 100 of them. So when you're splitting those units between two artists also, or two shops, it's going to be way better. You're going to be able to hit those minimum order quantities and also like hit those price breaks. And then I either offer, like, we can just straight up split however you want, split the inventory and pay each other for it, or I can keep all the inventory and pay you out a percentage every month, or we can do a hybrid of both, or I can license my designs to you. There's a lot of different routes you can go, and I cannot stress this enough. All of these are just made up as I go. Of course, you should probably, if this was actual good advice, I would say make contracts with the people and agree to stuff, but I've just done it over text. Let's see. Could you expand a bit more on what you did in those 1.5 to 2 years reaching consistent sales on Fair? Yes, I was insufferable. I would email people once every other week with my like Fair Direct stuff or a catalog or whatever. I'm so sorry. When my chest gets tight, I need to yawn to get more air. It's a whole thing. I have a whole blog on wholesale, so if I don't cover everything, you do have that to look at. But I would make a list of all the stores that I want to sell in, which I also have a list on my website of every store that's ever bought from me. It's like 600 names or something like that. And I would collect their emails, and then I would write out I have like a template that I would send out saying like, hey, I really love your store. Here's why I think I'm special and unique for your store. And like swap out the stuff at the beginning that made it unique to their store and just mass email out. And then if I didn't get a response in 2 weeks, I would send another email saying, hey, I just wanted to bump this to the top of your inbox. Make sure that you saw it. Because I cannot stress this enough. People are so busy, especially store owners. If you think you hate checking emails, they do too. So you have to be relentless. And even there's some stores that I could still not get to respond to me. So I started responding to like every story I could without seeming like an absolute freak on Instagram. I commented on anytime their post came across my page. I was one of their bravest soldiers. I participated in giving them engagement and was like, oh, it would be so nice to see my stuff in this store, in your store. It's so beautiful. Stuff like that. And eventually they did respond to my email. So you just have to be annoying. And you're not being annoying, I promise you. You're just reminding them, you're bringing it to top of dome. But for lack of better words, be fucking annoying. Do you discontinue designs or just sell all designs forever? People have been telling me to downsize recently. Ugh, that's the hardest. I don't know. There's some things that I've retired, and then if I get enough requests from people to bring it back, I will. There's other things that just they continue to sell, and I like them, so I'm going to keep selling them. There's other things that probably could have kept selling, but I didn't like them, so I was going to stop selling them. There's no secret sauce, unfortunately, in how to figure it out. On Shopify, it will tell you, it'll like grade all of your products A to C if you're on like the second tier. And I upgraded to the second tier plan so that I could have that grading and see like, oh, if something's rated as a C, maybe get rid of it. But like, it's really just such a personal choice. Co-working group, how do I join? Turn on notifications for me, I think. Oh, Small Business Resource Center here is a dead link. Okay. This is so helpful. Thank you. My pleasure, guys. This was so fun. But yeah, we go. Yes. Thank you, Will. Yeah, I go live on, normally it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays on Instagram to just shoot the shit and answer emails and bitch and gossip and all that stuff. Okay, are there any other questions, or is this a wrap? Thank you, Elizabeth. You're the absolute best. Thank you, Tamiko. I'm so glad that you're here. Yeah, thank you for your time, everybody. Do you have any pets? I do. She's somewhere. I have a little Tippy. Here, I'll show you. This is her. Yeah, that's my Tipper dog. Thank you, Elizabeth and TeePublic. Yes, thank you, TeePublic. Do you get your current shirts from Print on Demand? I get the shirts that TeePublic sends to me, like this one. And then the shirts that I sell in my store are literally just the ones from Target that they yoinked. Other than that, I'm not planning on doing clothing anymore just because it's so difficult. I would rather sell things that don't have sizes, like hats or hair claws, just to make my life as an inventory manager easier. Anything else?